Andrew Berry's message to the fans would not be loud or dramatic, but it would carry weight. He would acknowledge how difficult this season has been, and how exhausting it is to stay invested when expectations continue to collapse. He would recognize the frustration, the anger, and the disappointment, but also the loyalty that never disappears. Cleveland fans show up regardless of circumstances, and that commitment is something the organization knows it is not earned lightly. He would then make a promise rooted in responsibility, not optimism. His job is not to make excuses or protect narratives. His job is to identify the right leader, assemble the right roster, and turn the Cleveland Browns into a team that competes every year instead of resetting every few seasons. And the moment that message was delivered, everything changed inside the building. Because this was not a standard coaching dismissal. This was not a mutual separation. This was not a carefully scripted farewell wrapped in corporate language. There were no vague thank you statements or philosophical explanations designed to soften the blow. Andrew Berry threw away the usual NFL script and replaced it with something far more uncomfortable. He told the truth. Kevin Stefanski was not simply let go. His entire tenure was publicly evaluated and dismantled. When Andrew Berry stepped up to the podium, the tone in the room shifted immediately. This press conference felt different because it was different. His expression showed exhaustion, not confusion. His voice carried resolve, not hesitation. This was someone who had reached the end of his patience. For years, blame had been redirected. Injuries, quarterbacks, bad luck, circumstances. Every failure came with a justification, and accountability always stopped short of the head coach's office. This time, it didn't. Deliver the sentence that defined the moment. He said there had been no progress in areas that were controllable. That line erased every excuse in one stroke. He was not talking about injuries. He was not talking about quarterback turnover. He was not even talking about wins and losses. He was talking about fundamentals, game management, clock awareness, timeout usage, offensive organization, player development, decision-making under pressure. The responsibilities that define an NFL head coach regardless of situation. By highlighting those areas, Berry made one thing clear. Kevin Stefanski was not meeting the standard. That was not media opinion. That was an organizational conclusion. And that is why the statement landed so hard. But that sentence was only the beginning. What followed was a complete breakdown of the Stefanski era. And this time, the analysis was grounded in execution rather than reputation. For years, Stefanski had been protected by narrative. He was labeled an offensive genius, a schematic innovator, a stabilizing presence. Every failure was explained away by factors beyond his control. Andrew Berry removed that shield. This was not about potential or intention. This was about performance. And when Berry spoke, it was clear the organization had reached a final decision long before this press conference took place. Kevin Stefanski did not lose his job because of one season. He did not lose it because of one quarterback. He lost it because the Browns concluded. He could not consistently execute the responsibilities required at the highest level. That truth is uncomfortable. Most teams avoid saying it publicly. Cleveland did not. This was not a soft reset. This was not a rebrand. This was a declaration that the standard had changed. Kevin Stefanski did not exit with polite applause. He exited with a verdict. And Andrew Berry did not flinch. In that moment, the Cleveland Browns stopped protecting the past and chose to confront it. And that is where this story truly begins. The problems with Kevin Stefanski went far beyond scheme. And this is where much of the public conversation went wrong. Critics focused narrowly on play design while ignoring the broader reality of how the team functioned under pressure. When Andrew Berry and the organization evaluated the situation, they were not just reviewing playbooks. They were evaluating leadership, control, and execution in moments that define NFL games. Game management was a persistent issue. Poor timeout usage, inconsistent clock control, hesitation in critical moments, repeated decisions that cost momentum and field position. These were not isolated mistakes. They formed a pattern. In the NFL, patterns matter. When the same errors appear week after week, they are no longer bad luck. They are indicators of preparation and awareness. That is why Barry focused on controllable areas instead of record. Wins fluctuate. Circumstances change. Discipline and management do not. Cleveland observed that regardless of who played quarterback or how injured the roster became, the same operational failures continued to surface. That pointed to leadership, not randomness. While national media continued framing Stefanski as unlucky, others were studying the tape. Analysts who focused on film rather than narrative saw an offense that had become predictable and outdated. Defensive coordinators knew what was coming. Motion rarely disguised intent. Route combinations repeated. Adjustments arrived late or not at all. In the modern NFL, predictability eliminates talent advantage. That is why Cleveland's offense never struck fear, despite having high-level players. Opponents attacked aggressively because they knew the scheme would not punish them. Former NFL quarterbacks echoed the same concerns. Chase Daniel, Sean King, Drew Bledsoe, Kurt Warner. These were not casual observers chasing attention. These were professionals who had lived inside offensive systems. Their assessments aligned. The offense lacked evolution, flexibility, and answers. Then came the most important signal of all: player response. In this league, silence speaks loudly. When Myles Garrett was asked about the situation, he offered no endorsement. He said he wanted to win. Inside NFL circles, that answer is understood. It creates distance. It avoids commitment. It signals disengagement without confrontation. Odell Beckham Jr.'s departure was not simply about personality or environment. Around the league, it was understood that he did not want to be part of that offensive structure. Receivers talk. And the message circulating about Cleveland was clear: roles were inconsistent, rhythm was missing, and opportunity was unpredictable. Baker Mayfield's case reinforced the point. His best statistical season came under Stefanski, yet he never publicly championed the system. That contrast matters. Quarterbacks who believe in a system advocate for it. Baker did not. Deshaun Watson never appeared comfortable. Timing issues, hesitation, and confusion persisted beyond rust. Joe Flacco operated professionally, but never appeared fully invested in the philosophy. He executed, but belief was absent. Then there was Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback placed into instability. Constant change. No clear offensive identity. Yet throughout it all, Sanders never publicly credited the system for his development. He never said the structure helped him. He never said the play calling simplified the game. That silence is telling. G. Bush made this point clear. Not one quarterback or offensive skill player publicly stated that Kevin Stefanski's offense made them better. In the NFL, that is a final warning. This was never about personal character. No one questioned Stefanski's work ethic or intentions. The evaluation was strictly professional. Could he deliver the responsibilities required of an NFL head coach? Cleveland ultimately decided he could not. NFL, is not a league of sentiment. It is a league of execution. Stefanski was given time, resources, and opportunity. When controllable areas failed to improve, the organization reached its conclusion. This was not simply a coaching change. It was a philosophical reset, an admission that the experiment had run its course. And now, the focus shifts. ND Barry remains. Responsibility increases. Pressure multiplies. Every decision from this point forward carries consequences.